What's up, bro? Shaddow, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Can can you hear me, bro? Cause I got no audio from you. I got no. If you can hear me, put your finger up. Can you hear me? Ah, we're gonna get this right sooner or later. Well, anyway, um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eject because my sound's working. Um, oh, you know what? Hold on, let me check something. But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna eject and then I'm gonna bring him back in. Which one was it? Shadow the music artist. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm gonna bring him back in. Try it one more time. Well, anyway, it's Ryan Hodge, CEO of Black Folk Hotspots GI Operation on Twitter. We are doing. Um, I'm waiting for him to come in. Give me a slight pause. Give you a little ice cube real quick. Anyway, so what we're doing today is we're going to talk to Shaddow. Shaddow got some things going on. As you saw in the events, um, we're talking. Shaddow is the CEO of Shadow World Entertainment, and but before I do anything, I want to talk about do a little housekeeping as usual, right? Housekeeping is support Black business shirts. Make sure you go get one. Um, I guess one day I can actually bring an extra one out. but you can go to bfhsnetwork.com/support BFHS. Or you can see the link in the description below. If you're a business owner, you want us to help you out with a little bit more exposure or talk business, you can click the link in the description or become a member of Black Folk Hotspots, which you should already be at blackfolkhotspots.com. And then we should, but other than that, then we can rock and roll. It's crazy because we had audio. And now we don't. So it's technical glitches, the internet. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna try to shoot them. I'm gonna try to shoot them. I'm try to shoot them an email. Give me a second. Maybe by episode. Maybe by episode, 15, we'll get it right. So we're at episode 10, and we want to talk to Shaddow about music, and we want to talk to him about what's going on down in Texas with the business, how he got started, things of that nature, and where he's going. And then just have some candid business talk to, drop some jewels, some wisdom, some things that he may or he's went through, some obstacles that he's had to overcome, and then rock and roll from that point. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm going to give him a call and just get him online live, and then we can take it from there. So we'll go back to the old school way of how we've done it. Hey, Shaddow, were you able to hear me?
No, I wasn't. It was I couldn't hear you, and it looks like you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, the audio's because I know that the audio is working because I can hear myself.
Yeah, on my end too. So, do you usually send a link for them to call in on? For me to call in on?
No. What I'm gonna do is I got you now. I got you online. So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna do it with just your audio. But I want to check something real quick. I'm gonna check something real quick and see. I can hear myself. See, it's recording.
On my end too.
So
you usually send a link for them to call in on?
No.
For me to call in on?
No. Oh yeah. So I can literally hear. So here's the deal. So I got you on speaker. So basically, what we were going is yeah, we're live right now. I don't play. Okay. I tell people all the time I don't play all that fancy stuff. I try to let people know that, hey, this is natural. We make mistakes. We grow, we learn. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that's cool.
because I don't like for people to try to get everything perfect before they launch an idea, right? Because no company is ever perfect when they get it going, and that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah, I got you.
that's one of the biggest. And I think we've talked about that before. Sometimes you just have to do, and uh, and you learn as you go. As long as it's not too bad of mistakes. If somebody can't deal with a couple audio, video problems, or something just don't quite go right, then you know what? We don't need to be in business together in partnership, because that's business. You fail way more than you succeed. You know what I mean? So um, now, okay, so you're down in Texas. What part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Arlington, Texas.
Okay, now are you born and raised Arlington, Texas, or you just migrated down there like just about everybody else I know is moving to Texas?
I'm born and raised in Dallas.
Okay,
So yeah, Arlington is within like the Dallas Fort Worth metroplex. So yeah, I'm from here.
okay, cool. All right, so you're a Dallas Cowboy, Texas Rangers,
All
Dallas.
that, all that. Dallas Cowboys, Texas Rangers, FC Dallas soccer, all that
So you Dallas to the core, huh?
to the core.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, how long? Now, you're in the music business. You play the saxophone, right? Or do you play other instruments as well?
Yeah, I play other instruments as well. I play keys a little bit, drums, uh, and of course, vocals too. So
So you sing as well?
yeah, you'll catch me doing stuff in the studio.
Okay, that's good
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't know that. Now, what? Sorry about that.
Are you good? You okay, bro? You catching a cold or something? What's going on?
No, man, I was drinking tea. Went down the wrong pipe.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
so how long have you been in the music industry? Is it something? What did it come from your parents? How did you pick that up?
It was man, that's a good story. So um, my parents actually they were kind of scared when I picked up music when I was in junior high, and the first instrument I ever played was a clarinet.
Okay.
And
Why you? Hey, hold on. Why you kind of snicker about that?
cause I hate clarinet now.
Okay.
I hate it. But anyway,
Now I'll tell you
shortly after that,
before you go on. I'll tell you why I thought about it, because and I wasn't in band, but most of the cats I knew either played the sax, the trumpet, the trombone. The women usually played the clarinets and the flutes. So
yeah, exactly,
I thought that's where
exactly.
you were going. Okay.
My parents couldn't afford a saxophone first off, and I
Mm.
think like thinking way back, like the clarinet, they had like a school program where you could do the clarinet, and so I just started off on that,
Okay.
and then shortly after I went because I got the basics of like how to play an instrument off of a clarinet, but like shortly after I went to the saxophone real quick. I went um like the year prior to going to high school, I switched over to saxophone. I went to I found one at a pawn shop for like I think it was under $300. It was real cheap, but it was good enough to start on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then uh, that was junior high, going into high school. And I started listening to a lot of records, a lot of a lot of kind of old school stuff like Ronnie Laws, Al Jarreau, my parents used to have a lot of records like that. Earth, Wind and Fire, a lot of old school records they used to listen to, and you know, I remember the motivation for me wanting to be in the music industry was when my parents were listening to records. That was the only time they weren't fighting each other.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, like most African American males, we kind of grow up in adverse situations as far as our families and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that was my main motivation at first, because I remember when I was playing on their horn, they was actually happy. But at the same time, they were scared, because when I said that's what I want to do with my life, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be broke your whole life. You're gonna be starving. Because won't you become a doctor? Won't you become a lawyer? Won't you do something like that so you can fall back on it?"
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that just didn't compute, because I knew I had a passion for music. So I was like, "No, I'm gonna find a way. Somehow, some way, I'm gonna find a way to make this work." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, fast forward 2015, I'm still doing it. So,
And, that's good. How do you how they feel? Are they supportive of your?
It's kind of like half and half. It's like when I'm making money, that's when they support it. When I'm struggling, they don't really support it. So it's like, I think they don't. I think with my family, because the society's view of musicians and the music business is not. For some reason, I don't think they take musicians and other people like that. The majority of us, they think that we're just going to be starving artists all our lives.
Right. Right.
That's the social norm. That's the social mentality. Unfortunately, a lot of families kind of buy into that. And I'm not really knocking on families that don't really support the musicians, but I mean, man, you kind of have to. That's my advice to anybody who's wants to do anything that they want to do in life. You have to go for it, man. Like, if you believe in your heart that's what you want to do, you'll find a way to make it work. You know what I mean? Regardless of who supports you or who doesn't support you. You know what I mean? They'll support you in the end. They'll come around later on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my advice to anybody out there. So, when my parents see me making a couple mil, when they see the net worth jump up, they'll be on board 100%. But I think right now it's going to be 50-50, because every parent is going to be protective of their children. You know what I mean? They don't want their children to go through any hardships or something. This a mechanism in parents that makes them feel like that. So.
Yeah, that's it's funny you say that, because that's one of the things with my daughter. she has a thing she want to do a week, but she really want to be in this music business, or she wants, in her words, she wants to be a celebrity. She wants to be famous, right? So she's taking singing lessons. She's taking guitar. She plays electric guitar. I've never heard her sing, and I've never heard her play the guitar. She would not play it in front of me.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think she don't want to play in front of you?
I don't know. I think she's a little nervous that I'm a critiquer, but her mom, she said it's only been a couple times. So with me, I'm like, hey, and I'm like, hey, it is what it is. Let's play. But I push her. I'm like, hey, if that's what you want to do, you got to do it. The only other thing I tell her is you have to practice. You got to practice daily. I'm sure that's how you grew up. Playing it all the time. You had a love for it. I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't play instruments. I played sports. I played baseball. I loved it. Right. So I was always practicing baseball. Always. And I can only imagine it's the same thing for the instruments. Um, that's
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Another question. Now, did you play sports or anything growing up as well or no?
Oh, we played street ball.
Okay.
I didn't play for school officially.
Okay.
Like on the official school team, I was in. Used to play street ball, basketball, but not on any official teams. I was too I was too into music.
Okay.
I really
No.
was.
I get it. I got a question. And my girl is like she grew up in not no athletics or whatever, but her thing was she went to like a performing arts school, whatever. Um, what exactly is the Shadow Riders Army?
The Shadow Riders Army is a fan club. Quite simply put, it's a fan club, and I'm building a platform specifically for Shadow Riders Army, where we're going to make history from the way that we interact with each other, like how I interact with each and every fan. I have a phone number. You can text it right now. So everybody that's listening or watching to the broadcast right now, you can text me +1-817-500-0061. Again, that's +1-817-500-0061. You can text me right now, and it'll go right to my phone. And usually, I probably won't be able to catch all of you because I'm in the middle of this interview. But my phone is so smart; it'll recognize you and it'll say, if I got you in my contacts already, it'll go right through and it'll say, hey, so and so just text you. But if you're not in my contacts yet, it's gonna say, yo, your number came up unknown. Add yourself to my phone book, and it's a technology that Ryan Leslie turned me on to. He's a really successful music producer and music artist right now, and he developed this technology, and it's called disruptive multimedia. So I'm using some of his platform to interact with the Shadow Riders Army, but I'm going one step further. We're building a website from the ground up just for Shadow Riders Army. That's going to allow them to communicate with me one-on-one. It's going to allow them to communicate with each other, very similar to how you do on any social media platform. You chat with each other, and you're going to have direct access to all my albums, like every album that I ever put out. In the future, is going to be only available from within the Shadow Riders Army platform. So you're not going to be able to find it on iTunes. You're not going to be able to find it on Google Play. All my albums from here on out, they're going to be available directly from me, and that's so I can see who's actually buying my album. I need to see who's actually who's supporting my work. So I can thank them personally. I can see where they're from. I can talk to them, and I think that's a major move because what a lot of music artists don't recognize now is in the music industry, all these middlemen, all these record labels and distributors, they're has direct access to their customer base, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you buy a ticket from American Airlines, they know who you are. They're going to get your name, your number, you know, your address. You know, they got, you know, maybe they're going to ask you for some ID or whatever. And then, you know, they're going to take your credit card information. They have your credit card information or your payment information, and it's a one-on-one communication in the sales, in the buying process. Now, music artists, you know, God bless us, man. We just, you know, just kind of shake everybody's hand and say, hey, we accept, you know, these companies helping us out and saying they're going to make our lives better when actually they're cutting, you know, the food from our mouths, right? So if I go to iTunes right now, because I put my last album on iTunes, my album called Prelude, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's available on iTunes right now, but if you want to get it directly from me, I'll give it to you for $1. I'll give you the whole album, my whole Prelude album, which is 7 songs, 7 tracks. I'll give you the whole album for $1. If you text me at 1-817-500-0061. But if I go to iTunes and I say, hey iTunes, who bought my album last year? Who bought my album when I dropped it? And they'll you know what iTunes will say? iTunes will say, oh, we can't give you that information because that's that's a violation of our policy. But iTunes, wait a minute. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have got that customer to buy something inside of your store. I deserve to know who bought my album, right? And iTunes is going to say no. You know? So, as you know, if you have a database or email list or something like that, if you know who they are, you can come back to them and directly, you know, notify them when you have a new album or when you have a live show or when you're doing an interview with BFHS Network. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can directly communicate with them, but if I don't know who they are, how am I going to communicate with them? How am I going to tell them when I have something else for sale? I can't because I don't know who it is. So that's a really big problem. That's the way music artists are losing a ton of money, right? And we got to have money to sustain ourselves and live, just like any other business owner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a restaurant knows who's going into their restaurant to buy food. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Why not let the music artist or the content creator, or whether that be, you know, visual art, let them know who's actually buying their stuff. You know, so that's what Shadow Riders Army is, man. It's a way for me to connect directly to each and every fan, each and every customer, you know, and offer them not only music, but we're gonna be offering them live stream videos. We're gonna be offering them lots of freebies. We're gonna be offering them concert experiences, direct ticket sales to special events, meet and greets, lots of other content. And there is a special part about Shadow Riders Army that is unique to any other fan club that has ever existed. And I can't divulge that information yet. I gotta wait on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's proprietary and it's top secret until we drop.
Right. I feel you. Let me ask you this: what were, as far as your influences? I know that, you know, I hear people talk about, you know, musical influences, and then I'm gonna talk about this Shadow Riders Army in a minute too, because I'm gonna circle back. But as far as influences, you know, who would you say influenced you the most, or that's in your music when you play?
Oh man, I get a lot of influences from Michael Jackson, Pharrell. I get a lot of influences from Pharrell. John Coltrane, he was a really, really prolific tenor tenor saxophonists. Everybody respects him. Michael Brecker, another great saxophonist. David Sanborn, another great saxophonist. Man, Prince, Prince, Frankie Beverly and Mays, James Brown, Donny Hathaway, Curtis Mayfield, Jay-Z, U2, Coldplay, the homie Kenna. He used to roll with Pharrell and the Neptunes. I get a lot of influences all over, man. I'm always listening to everybody.
Okay. Now, is it anybody who would stand out to you more than everybody else?
More than everybody else?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Okay. That's and me, that's something new to me because I would have never thought you would have said that. and I'm gonna tell you why. Because well, I know you're a player, and man, I do know you do some vocals, but when you look at, but I don't really know Michael Jackson's really playing an instrument, right? So that's something that really, that's something that I learned that was different for me, and because I look at on the sports side of things, I play baseball, so a lot of my guys growing up was baseball players. I like football, I like basketball, I liked other sports, but I really, dug baseball players. That's interesting. That's something that's interesting. Now about the Shadow Riders Army, I like that concept. I think it's an awesome concept. I think it's something that's fairly new because I know in the media now that that is so many of these artists that were I don't know what you would call them before they were independent. What would you call an artist that's not independent, that's working for that has a contract with a label?
A signed artist.
Okay, duh. Okay, so as a signed artist, because for instance, Tyrese is independent now. I guess he severed all the strings, from my understanding, and there's a few others that's doing the same thing.
Yeah, because it's smart. I mean, because with technology, man, the technology that we have now, it makes record labels kind of obsolete. There were leakers anyway, man. So you only get 20%. You get less than 20% of the money that is made from your hard-earned work.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've always heard that they don't really make their money off of CD sales, and record sales. They make their money off of tours and whatnot.
Yeah, that's where you make the majority of your money is on the tours, on the live shows.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it. But
that's changing too now because of the technology.
Okay. Yeah, because I could see that's funny how I can look at certain businesses and see how technology has influenced or changed or kind of threw a little monkey wrench in the game. But now I see how it's affected technology. And I mean, I've heard this talk, but I'm not in that industry. I'm not in that field, and I don't know a lot of people in that field like that, but that's some good information. That really is. So now, and I'm gonna say this, even though I've always had entrepreneurial entrepreneurial mindset since I was a young kid, and and doing newspapers, and and selling candy bars and stuff, and candy at school, and doing lawn care. I had a little lawn care business at like 10, 11 years old, because I always made my own money, right? Or I always made some money to do the stuff that I wanted to do, right? If mom was like, hey, we're not buying you no candy, I'm like, I don't care, because I got my own money. You know what I mean? If I wanted a new ball,
snow cones,
yeah,
snow cones and lemonade stands, man, I was on my hustle too.
yeah. All I had to do was say, hey, can I go buy one? And usually it was no problem, whatever it was. But okay, so but I did my thing in life. I went to the military, went to Air Force, went to college, and then I worked in corporate America. But I also did some things in the middle. I worked in hospitals and stuff and the other. But working in corporate America in sales, I've sold cars, insurance, investments, mortgages, technology, credit card machines. I've done a little bit. I've done some, like, and I ain't gonna be fun. Even now, I think that I should get into the real estate industry to sell houses, and it's only because of the area that I'm in. I see so many for sale signs, and it's a decent area too. But I say all I had to say was a lot of the experience I got in running Black folk hotspots came from I was able to pick up by basically trading at my time for dollars in corporate America. In sales.
Right.
They were able to send me to some top sales classes and some things I did on my own as well. But I don't think that I'd have read as many books, possibly. Maybe I would have, I don't know. But because I wanted to get better selling, I guess I probably would have. But, I so I guess my question to you is, would it make sense to go after and get a signed contract because they have all these different resources, and maybe have to give up a little bit? But like sometimes when I'm watching Shark Tank, you have a person who will be like, oh, I'm not taking no more than 25%. No, I'm not doing it at 25%. Whereas they're making $100,000 right now, but they're afraid to give up 25% of their business. And if one of those sharks can take their business to $1 million, they'll be making, $750,000. So they will be, you know what I mean? So they will get a raise, and they still gave up 25% of their company, versus they were getting 100% of the company and were making $100,000.
Would it make sense to just sign a deal? Would it make sense to me to sign?
Well, I'm saying that because you can learn some more things on a bigger scale, maybe make some different connects. I don't know. I'm just saying. I always look at there's always a couple of different ways to do it, and then say, hey, you're only gonna do this 3 years. When I went and volunteered for the Air Force, right, I knew that I was not doing more than 4 years. I knew that from the start. I said, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna get this college money, I'm gonna get this skill training for a job or a career for when I got out, because I was thinking with the end in mind already. So I knew that hey, 4 years, it's a wrap. So let me get as much as I can while I'm here. Let me learn as much as I need to learn, because I'm not doing 20 years and retiring out of the military. Now, hindsight 2020, I look back, I'm like, man, I could have did that, because some of my buddies I went to basic training with, a little bit over 20 years ago, they now starting to retire. And I'm like, dang, that'll be a nice little retirement, you know what I mean? But, and then maybe I've been able to travel a little bit, basically do some things on somebody else's dime and learn at the same time, because I've picked up something from every company that I've ever worked for. I picked up something from every from every manager I've had, supervisor, I picked up the what not to do and the what to do's. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it. I was just throwing it out there because I get it, because you got a person like Ryan Leslie, like a Tyrese, like yourself, but then you got people like like Ti. Like, isn't Ti a signed artist?
Yeah, I think more or less he's supported by the majors, so yeah, he's signed in some way.
Okay.
But see, in the spirit of black economic empowerment, man, and like what's happening with maybe like what you're saying would have worked in the past, but now, like since I'm a black man, right, and I've been seeing what's happening like with Sandra Bland and Mike Brown and Eric Garner, and all the atrocities that's happening to the black community, and and listening to brothers like Dr. Claude Anderson and Dr. Boyce Watkins and all these other brothers, Tariq Nasheed, it's imperative that we have more African American entrepreneurs. And so what that means is you're gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to become an entrepreneur and not necessarily sign to a bigger corporation or a bigger company, but find four or five like-minded individuals in your community and lock arms together and figure it out. Go get you a LLC. Everybody, the five of you, pool your money together. Everybody put LLC. Don't cost much. Get you a good CPA, a reputable CPA, and build your own company. And I think people don't want to put in that work because they're scared of putting in that work. And I understand that. You know what I mean? I totally understand that. You want to go the easy route. But when you look, and I think they're like the millennials, like the people who look up to me, who always like all my Instagram photos, because I always try to post a photo with something positive but inspiring on there.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking up at us, and like these guys are gonna be an example for us. So man, we gotta get off of that, signing on. And I think there needs to be more music artists who are not afraid to say, hey, we don't need to be signed. We actually are smart enough and business savvy enough to run our own business, right? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you're gonna have, just like you said at the beginning of this interview, you're gonna make some mistakes, yeah. But at the end of the day, you got your freedom, and you have your freedom. And those music artists who sign those deals don't have their freedom. Um, those those music companies are not owned by African Americans most of the time. The last one that I heard of was Motown, and the homie, what's his name? Barry Gordy, he sold it, which I don't think was a good move. That was like one of the last good businesses in Detroit. You see where Detroit is right now, as far as African American community. Most of them on Section 8 housing, and they kicking them out of the city. And Detroit was built. The majority of the workforce was blacks, man, and they kicking them out the city. I'm like, but if those people own businesses, you know what I'm saying? If they own businesses and squad it up,
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't be happening to them. We have a real problem with economic empowerment in the black community, man. And I think more music artists need to start speaking up about that. And me, I'm kicking and scraping for everything that I earned. You know what I mean? I earned it. I can say that. So there's no you can't buy me out. I don't have anything to lose by speaking my mind. You know what I'm saying? Those other signed artists, they have a lot to lose, you know, because most of the times those corporate heads of state or whatever, they're saying, you know, look, you better talk about this in your rap. You better talk about this you better talk about this in your music, or I'm cutting you. I'm cutting your paycheck. I'm cutting your record deal. I'm shelving all your albums, and the world will never hear them anyway because I own.
So wait a minute.
They can't tell.
So
they can't tell me that, man.
So
they can't tell me that.
Are you kidding? I've heard that happen. I just didn't know that happened. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I would not. There's no way I would do.
Look at hip hop music, man. Look at hip hop music right now. That gets me so hot, man. Everybody gets on the news talking about, oh, you know, all the black on black crime and everybody should be killing each other. That's because of the hip hop music. No, it's because the owners of those record companies secretly had meetings to say that, look, we're going to fund only these rappers who say what we want them to say because we got to fill these jails, all these prisons that we own privately with inmates. Who are the guinea pigs that we don't want around that we can throw in those prisons? Oh, the black community. Okay, so since we also own these record companies, let's shelf all the positive rap, all the conscious rap music, all the, you know, and let's only, you know, push out gangster rap and everything else. All this, you know, and let's gradually dumb it down over the years and make it even more destructive to the community. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening. And people, you know, and people don't know because they don't do their homework and their research and stuff, man. But I think that's why I think it's really important for music artists to be independent. It's going to take you more work, but it's worth it, and then you can actually keep your soul.
Yeah.
And most of the times you get to keep more of your money too. No. I would say 100% of the time you're gonna keep more of your money. So it's a win-win.
So, okay. So like a person like Ryan Leslie, is he signing people? No,
he's just doing business with people. I follow him a lot. He's creating a new network, you would say, a music industry network, a total new way of thinking how to do business in the music industry.
Okay, because wouldn't it make sense for you to create a company where you signed artists, but you gave them you basically brought them in as partners into your company? Wasn't somebody trying to do that where everybody was a partner?
I don't know. I had to do some more research. But,
I want to say that it was a major artist that was trying to start a company where because I guess the biggest thing is the fact that you don't really control your music.
Yeah.
And which means if you don't control your music, that means you don't control your money. You know, it's a direct correlation. So, but I think it was I think I read that somewhere that it was an artist or a group of artists tried to get together and they were going to form this company, and everybody that came in, it wouldn't be, we would, you know, because we got power in numbers, but everybody was going to own their own stuff. And then they will kind of work together I guess in a nutshell, you know, they had some dough to try to help out, because I know that, you know, with the more marketing, the more advertising that a record gets, the more times it spends, the more money that people are going to make. I mean, that's just like life. The more people pass by McDonald's, you know, the more people are going to buy, you know, Big Macs.
Yeah, that's right. You know, word of mouth and saturation in the marketplace. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna get more exposure.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, like, when you have things like like who signed Drake? Lil Wayne?
Yeah, Cash Money Records.
Okay, so
Young Money, Cash Money. Yeah.
so Young Money is Lil Wayne, am I correct? And Cash Money is Baby.
Well, it's all like they merged them now, and I
Okay.
think it's Baby and Slim that are the owners or whatever.
Okay.
And I think Lil Wayne was signed to Cash Money, and whatever stake he had in the company, I think it's gone because they uh some some drama that's happening over there that I don't really care to know more about.
Right, right. They
But
beat yeah, it's some problems over there. You know.
yeah,
Okay, okay, so let's flip the script. So let's take a person like 50 Cent. Who signed 50 Cent?
50 Cent signed on with Shady with Eminem's label,
Right.
which is also connected to Aftermath, which is Dre's label.
So
But then later on, he broke off and did his own thing later.
okay, so are would Eminem be considered independent or Dre with Aftermath?
Nah, because they're all funded by Interscope.
So we need to fund some. We need to found some Interscopes.
Yeah, something like that. Like it all kind of goes. If you follow the money, it's like I think there's like 5 major record companies in the world,
Oh wow.
and they all have subsidies like sub record companies. And so if you follow the money back up, it'll lead to one of those 5.
So basically, in a nutshell, Interscope. So what Dre's doing, Dre is like an executive with them, and he's getting a bigger piece of the pie.
Right.
But
You're
he's
signed to
getting
them though. Yeah.
yeah, but he's able to go out and sign other artists.
Yeah.
And he probably getting a piece. So they got like a little network marketing type deal going on a little bit. you know.
Yeah. In a way.
And they at the top, so they making all the bread, the most of the bread.
Yep.
Okay. So why do you think it hasn't been more Motown types? I mean, I'm sure Motown probably did the same thing, but I'm thinking that they probably have a little bit more interest in doing things right in the hood and being more responsible.
Motown got bought out, and since there's no economic base in the black community, because Motown was all about the black community. They were only pushing out black artists,
Yeah, exactly.
and I think we need to get back to that. I got something I need to talk to you about offline
Okay.
after you get done with this interview in that vein, because that's where I'm going with the Shadow Riders Army. I'll talk more about that
Okay.
offline with you.
Cool.
But we need that, because look at when I was over in Korea back when I did my tour with the military, I found out about K-pop. You know what I mean? And now K-pop is worldwide, right? And all K-pop is Korean pop music. And that's all they do. It's like they have a whole industry, and it's niched out. They only gonna put out Korean music artists. You're not gonna go. Lil Wayne ain't gonna be able to go fly over to Korea and get him a record deal in the K-pop record label. They ain't gonna have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's only Korean artists. You might get featured on one of their singles, like they do a lot of features where they'll have a guest artist perform on one song on their album, and a lot of time they picking the brothers, because you know what I'm saying, You know, we're real good when it comes to rhythm. So, um, but yeah, same thing with Japan. They got J-pop. It's only Japanese artists that's coming out of there. And so, I think as a culture, black music, we need to get back to that.
Now,
we need to get back to just, you know what I'm saying? Getting back to what Motown was all about.
Yeah, because that's exactly what we've had numerous conversations, so that's exactly what my head was spinning to, right? It's like, wait a minute, there's a void here, a huge void, because and but and I'm glad we had this conversation in this chat here, because I'm gonna start talking about that more, because I would look at things and I will focus, some of the videos that I've done and this, that, and the other. I've talked about, um, I've talked about, what the black community can learn from the hip hop artists, right? But I talked about it from a different perspective, so this is gonna change my perspective just a tad bit, at least give it a little bit more versatility, because I'm like, as far as black business owners, we should be working together. We should be, finding, whose product is complementary to ours. We should be, for instance, if I'm selling, if I sell, if I sell, jeans, then I need to be, connecting with some people who sell belts, and connecting with some people who sell shirts, connecting with some people who sell hats, connecting with some people who sell, all the way down, that can outfit the whole entire body, and we should be coming in and going in together. Exactly. And I look at hip hop, and and I'll hear, these people. I know some people got beef, so this, that, and the other, but you pick up, well, even with the most recent beef between Drake and Meek, because of what Meek said, and then but Meek had featured Drake on one of his cuts, and you know what? I'm sorry, but in my opinion, if you put, I don't think that Meek Mill will make a Drake song, but I believe that Drake will make a Meek Mill song.
You know what all that is, right? It's marketing. It's marketing.
Yeah, I believe some of that is marketing as well. But do you believe it's marketing from their angle or from the corporate angle?
Both. Everybody knows Drake is more popular than Meek Mill.
Exactly.
That's why Drake really wasn't responding at first, because he already figured it out. He's like, oh, okay. Meek he's talking about me so people can give him more attention. You know what I'm saying? So he can sell some more records. and the whole beefing marketing scheme, in my opinion, is getting played. It's very played out. You shouldn't have to resort to beefing to market your material. Your music should speak for itself.
Yeah,
you should have a better relationship with your fans and your fan base, so that they love and cherish and respect you and everything like that. And you don't have to resort to stuff like beefing with another music artist, another man. You know what I mean? We certainly don't need those kind of examples in the black community as it, and people say, you're beefing over Nicki Minaj or whatever, but I think that kind of marketing, we have to show the world. It's going to take. I want to be one of them. It's going to take black men who are music artists to show the world that we don't have to beef to market our stuff. You know what I mean? We don't have to resort to that kind of tactic to get people to buy our albums. the record labels who own these men, who owns their contracts, who basically owns them, they don't care. They force them to say, hey, you better go out here and sell these records or else, you know. It's a lot of pressure.
Right, because it would make sense to me, you know, like I think I got that right away, and real talk, I got that right away. I said, wait a minute, this is crazy, you know, and I go, Drake don't write his own lyrics. I'm sure a lot of them don't. I said, wait a minute, as big as Drake is, I bet you he don't write all his own lyrics. He probably write a lot. He probably write some, but he's busy, you know. And then,
and that's fine. I mean, that shouldn't even be
a issue.
I mean, yeah. You know, he figured out a system. He figured out a business system to get this product done faster.
Right.
And serve his customers better.
Right.
It's business.
Right.
It's business. I ain't mad at him.
I know he's just not putting any song that he doesn't agree with on his albums. You know, it's just like anything, you know, it's like, wait a minute, you got songwriters, that's a business. You know, I was watching that Unsung with Escape, and Candy Burris was talking about how, you know, towards the end, how, you know, they thought, you know, and I did too, thought that Escape would win a Grammy, but they was competing, you know, with TLC big time, you know, and TLC was killing it with the awards and all this. And turns out that when Escape finally like split up, or Candy finally said, hey, you know what, I'm done with them, you know, she started writing songs for TLC. Well, she wrote a song for TLC, which ended up winning her the Grammy that she always wanted to win as the songwriter, and she wrote No Scrubs for TLC.
Yeah, so she got what she wanted.
She did. You know, I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. You know, that's the stuff that I be picking up. You know, and that brings this that led into this conversation. It's like, wait a minute. And I said that. I said, wait a minute. He's okay. Kevin Hart don't write all his jokes.
Yeah.
You know,
somebody to help him.
Yeah, I was watching. I don't know which comedian that was, but again, it was a comedian that was nowhere near Kevin Hart's level. He's good, but he wasn't on his level. And why was he on? I forgot the radio show with Charlemagne in New York. But why was he? No, I take it back. He was on not on them. He was on Sway's show, and he was talking about how Kevin Hart did. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, and then another comedian that came on like a couple of days later as a follow up. He said, you know, Kevin Hart, he'll sit in the back of come to a comedy club. He sit in the back. You know, he get jokes, or you know, somebody else writing his jokes for him. He got a team of joke writers. He got a team. And that's, you know, because he's too busy.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on my next album I'm working on, the Nightfall Suite. I got some help with the arrangements of my album. Like the single we're working on right now. Shout out to Artist Bootcamp over here in Arlington. The homie Rob McDonald and Sharisha Watson. Yeah, they helping me write my next album.
It'll give everybody credit, and everybody wins, and everybody grows.
Yeah, Artist Bootcamp, shout out, much love to y'all.
Yeah, everybody gets a little piece of the pie. I don't understand people, you know, and that's the thing. You'd be amazed at how many business directories or people who are similar that's on Black Folk Hotspots. I always accept them, right? I'm like, hey, come on, let me help you out. Because matter of fact, I just interviewed a guy who's yesterday from Visit Black Houston, right? He's building a business directory for Houston, you know, and we're talking about that. It's like if I can send you people and say, okay, you live in Houston, you should be in this directory too. He's growing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got a team, man. That's why we got to talk offline. I mean, like for the music videos, I
Yeah.
got a black film director by the name of Kareem Gray from Gray Area Films. He's helping me with that. I mean, I got a team, man. I got a super producer out in California by the name of Clayton Powell with Clay House Productions, working on all the tracks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All brothers, all brothers.
We need,
Um,
yeah, I like that, and that I
yeah,
like that, and that's what we need to do because I'm telling you, I had this, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I hate talking. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Not trying to be funny. It's nothing like that, but um, I want to do what I want to do, right? I know that I can do so many different things, but what I've realized in my life is I can't do all things.
yeah. You got to have a team.
You got to have a team,
You
and
got to have a team.
sometimes there's people that come to me, and even though it's something I may have done in the past or something that they can see me doing, I'm more apt to say, hey, I know who can do it way better, and this is what they do 80% of the time. They're going to be more effective. They can handle it. So let me connect you to, and then we can rock it out, and then you can come back to me for what I do specifically. But y'all need to connect. And I had this. I guess it was this. It was a female, and actually she's somewhere. She's in your area, and we had a. I did. When I look at things, I did tell her that I would hit her back in like a week or something like that. And for whatever reason, you get busy, you don't do it, and but I had made the connections.
Yeah,
I made the phone calls, so that all I was going to do was basically put those two together and let them rock. But I like to, when I look at relationships, I'm sure you probably do too. If I know that two people are gonna have to work together, I always try to find people who I believe, and I've been pretty good at that, who I believe will work well together. You know,
that's important.
Yeah, and I try to specifically go, okay, I know this person's personality, and I know this person's personality, or at least let me talk to them. Let me throw out, let me just see, let me check their stilo. If I never really talk to them too much, and I think in an hour and a half, 2 hours, I can, a conversation or a meeting or whatever, I'm a pretty good judge of character. Now, not saying that person's bad, but I know that may not be a good click. Like I had a person that hit me up. They wanted to do uh, a makeup party for, not a makeup. They was having a girls' weekend. It was some women who hadn't. It was four of them who hadn't gotten together since they were all together since they were like in grade school, but they've been friends since high school rather. But they had been friends since elementary school. And all of them were going to be in town at the same time. So they were going to do a girls' night out, do a little makeup thing, do a photo shoot, and they in their 40s, right? So when she came to me to ask me if I knew any makeup artists in the area. And I'm like, yeah. I said, I know a couple, but I also know some people who know some makeup artists because they more in that industry. So I reached out, and then the other person had told me that it was like one or two specific people in the area, and this is my hometown. So that they knew were makeup artists, but they didn't want to work with for whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I reached out to the person, come to find out, that was one of the first people that she recommended. Was one of the people that said she didn't want to work with. And the chick is good. It was just some personal something that just wasn't going to work. And when I told her, you got anybody else besides her that you know because it's not going to work. And she kind of got huffy with me, like, what difference does it make? And I'm like, it makes a lot of difference because that person is not, these two people are not going to work together at all. Trust me. You know what I mean? It's not about the dollar here. This is some personal. And for whatever reason, I didn't get into the background of the personal because that's not my business. But if you say, Ryan, hey, you know this guy, but don't give me X. I've worked with him before, or for whatever reason, we just don't gel. We don't see the eye to eye on anything. You know, it's just not going to work. I'm not going to keep trying to recommend that guy to you. That just doesn't make sense. You know, and so she had huffy, and you know, and we were cool enough to, you know, we've been associates and been friends for a long time, so we're cool enough, you know, and that just, I was just like, forget it, right? And come to find out, I just found somebody else. The weekend went without a hitch, right? They had a good time. They called me up thanking me. The makeup artist, you know, jammed, and she was less expensive than the other chick, right? So they was like, yeah. So we were able to save some money and get just, you know, what we wanted. You know, it wasn't this, you know, whatever. And, you know, and so we just kind of left it. But then that same person who didn't kind of understand, you know, she had called me a couple times for, you know, for some connections for some things she was trying to do, you know, and a lot of times, you know, when I'm dealing with, you know, a publicist, or I'm dealing with, you know, some of these other professions, you know, or consultants for certain things, you know, that's what they get paid to do. You know what I mean? So I can't call them up and be like, hey, I got a friend over here. I need you to do this, and this. But they, you know, they usually, if they're going to do it, you know, have the conversation, initial conversation, whatever, like you would get a new client or whatever, they just go on my GP. And, you know, I'd be like, hey, there's a bigger project coming down the line. You know, it may be a year from now, 2 years from now, but it's coming. So on me, on the strength, you know, hook her up, you know, and they would. But, you know, nothing ever came. And then, you know, then there was an instance where she wanted to do something. I made the connection. I told her I'd make the call. I made the call, made the connections. And it slipped my mind to call her. I mean, I get busy, right? You know, we've been on the phone for hours sometimes. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I know.
Yeah, things happen. You know, good conversations or whatever. But then, you know, then you got life too. And instead of her following back up with me and saying, hey, you said you're gonna call me on, you know, Friday, it's Tuesday, you know, what's up? You know, she sent me a nasty text message, and I'm like, no.
Cost of doing business sometimes, you know.
Yeah, the nasty text message was, you know, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing you a favor here. Ain't no, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but ain't no dollars and cents trading hands here. You know, when ain't no dollars and cents, sometimes you got to be a little bit less, you know, aggressive in your action. And I'm like, no. And it's funny because we've been friends for a long, we have been cool friends for a long time. And, you know, it bothers me that it's like, wow, you know, you couldn't just pick up the phone and call me to send a text. You had to pick up the phone to send a text message. Hell, I'd appreciate you to pick up the phone and call me to curse me out. You know, because then I can be like, hey, girl, here's the number. Call her. You know, we've been done, but the text message was, I'm like, wow. So you pick up the phone, so you send a text message to curse me out, and you know, and it was like, it wasn't just a regular one. It was nasty. I'm not married to you. I'm not sleeping with you. You know, when you get that from your girl, sometimes you gotta deal with it. And even then, you on the couch for a couple of days. You know what I mean? But somebody I'm not in a relationship with, I ain't gotta do. I'm like, hey, you know what? You don't do that. I wouldn't do it to you. I would pick up the phone and be like, hey, did you do it? Da da da. especially if I know that I'm not paying for something. You hooking me up, or you doing something your off time, you know. But yeah, so um, I like the dollar concept, bro. I do. I mean, can I what's up with the? I mean, that's what made you come up with the dollar album deal. What made you? Where'd that come from?
I'm directly competing with iTunes and everybody else.
Okay, and before that, let me ask you this: how much more time do you have? Do we have?
I got a minute.
Okay.
We got. I could stay on for a good while. I got like another 30 minutes at least.
Okay, perfect. Now, you also you got you also talked about like some saxophone sample packs.
Yeah. I got for recording studios and music producers and beat makers who want saxophone samples in their beats and their music production. I put together some saxophone packs, some saxophone sample packs where I play some licks on my saxophone and chop them up in small increments so they can easily input them into a beat or music production. They can manipulate them, change the sonic register. They can just have fun with it, change the filters on it, do all the things that they want to manipulate the saxophone sound, or just keep it raw. And I did that because one of my hustles was I was a studio musician. I go in the studio and lay some saxophone tracks for all different kinds of artists, man. Like I was doing stuff for reggae songs. I was doing stuff for gospel music, Christian music. I was doing stuff for cats overseas in Korea and Japan. I was doing stuff for guys from Russia, all different genres. People who wanted saxophone samples, right? And at first, I was doing it locally, getting paid locally, and then I had it set up on my website at shadowmusic.com where you can request to have me do it online, and then what they would do, they would send me a track, and I would play what they wanted, and we'll bounce back and forth until it was right, and then break bread, and I sent them the raw file. But I started getting too busy to do that. So what I did to alleviate, because people kept asking me, they're like, "Oh, we noticed that you're not available for doing that anymore." And so, in response to that, I put together 3 saxophone sample packs with different licks on each one.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of them have over 50 saxophone samples in each package. And it's called Shaddow Loops.
Okay.
So you get a bunch of saxophone licks and sounds in each package. Over 50 in each package. One of them has like 70 samples in it, And I did that for all the beat makers and all the music producers and the independent artists who wanted saxophone in their songs. Well, now they can just get a Shaddow Loop sample pack and just take the samples that they like and manipulate them how they see fit, And it's there and it's available whether I'm on or I'm off, what I mean? It's always available. And all you have to do is just go to shadowmusic.com and click on Shaddow Loops, and it's right there. You can purchase them right there off of my website. You can also call, you can also text me. +1 817-500-0061. Text me and ask for the Shaddow Loops, and I'll text you back a link to the so you can go pick them up from your phone. You can buy them off your phone too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's that's like good stuff. That's like stuff that honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I never really even thought about from the music perspective. But now that you say that, I think about uh one of my buddies who was in the industry. A couple of my buddies were in. They were doing some things locally, and those are things that I guess that's I know one buddy, he was a producer, so he would put those sample packs in his organ, or in his computer or whatever, when he was making beats for other people. And
Right.
yeah, so okay, that make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So if you need a library of saxophone sounds, I got you. All you need to do is come holler at Shaddow. I got all the saxophone sounds you need.
Now, now you do covers and stuff too, right? What do you do?
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of I want to shy away from doing a lot of covers. I want people to experience my original works more.
Okay, right.
But I will do a cover. You might. Uh, man, I know we talked about this earlier, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try put more covers on my YouTube channel. And I'm looking at. I made a list of some covers that I can play. Actually, there's one cover that's up on my YouTube channel right now, and it's a cover of a Ryan Leslie song called "You're Not My Girl." And I did a cover of his song, and it's on my YouTube channel right now. Just Shaddow the music artist on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, and you'll see it. But yeah, I'm working on maybe doing a few covers on YouTube and stuff. And
Well,
we're working on incorporating some covers into the live show for the new album
mm-hmm.
over at Artist Boot Camp, and also on my team. I got a shout out to the brother Lamont Atkinson over at SOI Music Studio. He's up in Seattle. He's putting the tour together and also programming the show. So we're actually gonna play, like, for the new album, the Nightfall Suites album, a 15-track album. We got one single that's circulating, like a rough draft, called "Lady Spend the Night with Me." It's on YouTube, and we're thinking about mixing in covers in between each original work, but we want to get people used to hearing my original stuff more than cover tunes, so I can kind of brand myself. You know what I'm saying?
True. Only reason I say that is it's sort of like a trending topic on Twitter or on Facebook or on Google Plus or whatever. Like, for instance, Tyrese's the Black Rose. They got the song. He got the song Shame, and it's hot right now.
And that's a cover tune.
And that would be a cover tune, right?
Uh-huh.
And then they'll get to see what else that Shaddow got to offer. It's hot. Or maybe this Jill Scott. She just dropped her CD, right?
Yeah.
Maybe find one of those hot ones, and it's the thing. And, let me tell you, it was the way that I started. It was the way that I started blogging, bro. I blogged and I made these blogs off of hot topics, basically. So people would always ask me, they'd be like, Ryan, what's your blogs about? And I'm like, different things. So I had my own personal blog, which I just talked about day-to-day stuff and things that I was going on, things I was learning, whatever. But then I had niche blogs that were say I was taken into the music niche, and I would, post, talk about hot new songs that were out or hot new artists that were out, right? But that's because they hot and that's because they trending. You know what I mean? Like that Meek and Drake stuff, I'd have been talking about that. And at the same time, I'd have been linking to both of their, you know, both of their albums, their latest albums, or maybe some of their hot songs, using affiliate link from like Amazon. So
Okay.
Even though it's not putting that dough, I mean, even though they're not paying me anything, but if I could sell, a few albums or a few downloads or whatever, I would still put more money. And then what happens is after a certain period of time, you have this big. So you didn't really need to do a lot of publicity because you were already talking about something that are already hot in the news. So you got people Googling.
Let's do it like this. All right. Okay. So I don't know how many people are watching the show right now or listening to the show. I know I saw like one of my Shaddow riders, Gillette. She's over in France. She said she was going to be listening. So if you're listening, all of my Shaddow Riders Army fans out there, if you want me to do a cover tune, let me know which cover tune you want me to do, and use the hashtag Shaddow Covers. All right, you can the same way I put it on my YouTube channel. So it's SHADDW Covers, COVERS.
That's a good idea.
Hashtag and reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, YouTube even. Use a hashtag and tell me what cover you want me to play, and I'll play it. So yeah, you want to tell them, Ryan, on the screen?
Yeah. Well, I'm basically they can hear you. So I'll so like you said, if whatever cover you want to see him play on the sax, hashtag it. Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Shaddow Covers, SADDOWCOVERS. And that's how I would do it. And I would get more and more traffic, but then at the same time, then I would learn SEO, right? And that's how things started to blow up. And then, like I said, I had that dream in 2008. It's like, hey, why don't you do what you've been doing for yourself, but do it for Black business owners?
That's Black Folk Hotspots.
And that's Black Folk Hotspots. So instead of running, 8, 9, 10 blocks, man, I used to sell bicycles, dude. It's summertime. I know in the spring people will start looking for bicycles, right? So I would go on Amazon, look for bicycles that was $300, $400, $500, $600. I get 6% of that. So you sell a couple bikes, a few bikes, you sell some helmets, because you buy bikes, you buy helmets, you buy maybe some elbow guards, it's all different stuff. The funniest thing is when I would look into the things that I had sold and see that I sold like sex toys. I've never marketed or advertised those things.
Yeah, it's because like once you told me about this, like once they get to Amazon,
yeah,
off of your link, they stay there and they keep shopping.
Yeah, soap, coffee. I've never done that, and I was like, wow. And that's when I knew, and then when I had that dream, I'm telling you, woke up 3:30 in the morning, straight up about. All I heard was his voice saying, "Why don't you do what you've been doing for yourself, but do it for Black business owners and events?" And here's the name, Black Folk Hotspots. And I'm like, dang, that sounds too long, right? So I text 4 or 5 of my buddies, can't remember, at like right around that time, and I had texted them like 3 or 4 different names that was shorter or different. Whether it should be Black Folks Hotspot, or whatever, and they all responded within 10-15 minutes of sending that text at 3:30, 3:40 in the morning. I know it was before 4 o'clock. That they like blackfolkhotspots.com. And I was like, there's confirmation. Because I didn't even expect for them to respond right then. I expected them to respond to me later on when they got to work. You know, I figured they was all asleep anyway. You know, I was asleep. I just happened to be awakened out of a dream. But yeah, man. So, and when I look at those things, because I look at exposure, and I want to see you blow up, like blow up, because the bigger you get.
Thank you, man.
I do, man. I do. That's just, and you know, and it's not because I know you. I mean, it is because I know you a little bit more personally, but at the same time, I look at things like this. The better you do, the better I do. If I'm the better my crew that's around me do, people I know do, it pushes me. My best friend growing up, you know, he's a pro ball player. He played pro baseball, right? He's in his 20-something year. You know, we don't talk as much as we used to, but I am so proud of that dude, right? He's made millions and millions and millions of dollars and had a good career, right? He's never made an all-star game. You know, he maybe been a 2 World Series. I know for sure one. You know, these are things that we talked about at 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, playing catch in the alley that, you know, one day one of us is going to make it to the league. This is stuff that we talked about, right? You know, it's a lot of people. Now, I played baseball right alongside him, but it's people who are jealous or envious that he made it and they didn't. So what do they do at home? What do they do when we out and about? They talk shit about him. They talk about he ain't got this and he ain't got that, especially early on in his career. I'm like, dude, he made it and you didn't. What's to be mad about? They drafted him. Yeah, you should be happy for him. You know, I get that, you know, at the beginning of his career, it wasn't the greatest, but I'm like, dude, something happened because he's still around for 20-something plus years. He is right now in Major League Baseball. He has had the most appearances of any active player in baseball. He's number 13, maybe 14. I don't know the exact number now. But he's in the top 20 of all-time pitchers in the history of Major League Baseball in appearances. This is a little black dude. Yeah, this is a black dude from Gary, Indiana, bro.
Major connect right there.
Yeah. This is a black dude from Gary, Indiana. And this is what I'm saying. And it's funny because I like the fact that he has success. Because it keeps me pushing too. I mean, hell, I ain't lying. Not that I want his lifestyle. I mean, I do. I mean, that's cool. I don't need that much money. I just know how many people I can affect with having a crap load of freaking money. You know, I knew that we was partners and I knew you trying to get your business off the ground. I can be like, hey, dog, let me invest in your business. Here's $100,000. Or here's a $100,000 loan. You just pay me back. Whatever, right?
Oh man, we'd be off to the races.
You see what I'm saying? Because I already understand that most businesses, they got great businesses, they got great things. You know, you play great music, you do certain things, and I know that the holdback with a lot of them, it's not anything except for cash.
Yeah, that's the holdup.
It's always the cash. And that's why, you know, I was talking about at the very beginning, you know, I had read a blog post that Mark Cuban had written. This was probably 7-8 years ago. And Mark Cuban was like, if you want to own a business, he suggests that you go work for a company who did something similar to what you want to do. Learn the business, get paid to learn it, and then have an exit plan that you know you out in 2, 3, 4 years, and then launch your own business, but your learning curve would be a little bit lower, and you were getting paid to do that. Now, if your company blow up, you can be doing that on the side. Now, if your company happens to blow up while you're working at it, then you just put in your resignation, say I'm out. Or fulfill all contractual obligations.
Yeah.
And and I and I think about it, when I read it, I thought that's exactly what I did with the military. I had no intentions on staying there past 4 years. I knew they were going to train me. I knew they were going to send me to college. Or at least they was going to pay 75% of it where I was in. When I got out, I had the GI Bill. That was my main goal, was getting college paid for. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, but what I did is I was a medic. I wouldn't take any old job in the Air Force because I wanted to have something I could fall back on once I got out that would provide a little bit of, a little decent income, above average. Come to find out that it really didn't, because I was a medic, and medics don't really get paid a lot of money. Dude, when I got out of the Air Force, man, I was an allergy immunization tech. Now, on the allergy side was 15, 16, 17, $18 an hour, and I'm 21, 22 years old, right? That's like hood rich. You know what I mean? But on the medic side, I was, we're talking about, I think it was, when I started, I was making $55 or $60 a day. It was literally like $18,000. And granted, I still got a lot of things done. But one of the things I did when I first got out, and I will say this, I waited tables at Red Lobster in Atlanta. And I was making about $180 a day. And I worked security at Days Inn downtown, which was crazy because I never knew that a Days Inn was like $129 a night. And we had like Tupac stayed there, George Clinton stayed there. Me and Tupac got into it in the hotel because yeah. But I would say that story for later. But it was crazy. It's like, right after, like, I think I Get Around, the video was just coming out, and they had just came off of like a 15 city tour, and his road manager was like, I'm like, man, why are y'all staying at the Days Inn? He was like, because we got kicked out of every hotel every night. Nobody, these boys, they rowdy. And I'm not thinking like, because, dude in the suit, so this is the music industry. He the only dude in the suit. He got a suit and a briefcase. And this one, I remember them asking him for money. Like, hey, I want to go to Magic City. I want to go to the strip club, whatever. And he'd give them, like, a couple $1,000s to go spend. And then they come back to the hotel, whatever, do whatever they got to do. But we got into it because he was cursing out our front desk clerk, because he had locked his key, his keys in his room. He had locked himself out of his room. And so she wouldn't let him in because she didn't know who he was, and he had no ID. And he's going, I don't have no ID because it's inside my room. You get it? So you got one of these situations where they both right, but they're not listening to each other. Because that's a common sense thing. Like, yeah, duh. It is 6 o'clock. Your luggage probably is in your room. Instead of calling one of us security and saying, hey, here's the key, go let him in his room or whatever, just to make sure, you telling him that he needs his ID. And he's trying to tell you it's inside his room where his key is at. So, and he's calling them bitches, and he's cursing out bad, dude. And that was the thing that I had the problem with. So when I came up, I said, hey man, I get what you're saying. And I told her, I get what you're saying too. I said, but can we kill the language? She don't have to be, the bitches and this, that, and the other, but I said, give me the thing. Let me go let him in his room. And as I said, we don't need that language. He was like, oh man, F you, dog. I'll F you up. You security guard. you RoboCop. Flash like, well, I see you. You know what I mean? But he's so small, dude. I mean, I'm like 6'1", 200, 220. And I was younger, so I had some muscle mass, the whole nine, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna hurt this dude. He a little dude, man. He like 5'8" or something. Now, granted, maybe he could scrap or whatever, but I'm like, dude, I came from the streets too. You know, I could throw them things as well. But I'm like, I'm about to hurt this dude. Now, my uncle was head of security. Not my uncle, my cousin. And here he come. He heard a commotion. He was doing his round. He heard the commotion. So he came up. Now he's standing behind Pac. I'm gonna tag you on Facebook one of my uncle's posts, and I'm gonna let you see what he looked like. Dude, they about the same. They about the same size, height wise, but my uncle's arms are like this. My cousin rather, and his legs look like watermelon. Like, dude, he is the epitome of ripped. You know, he was New Orleans karate champion, state karate champion for like 3-4 years in a row. So not only is he cock diesel, he's flexible. And I'm like, and he don't like the young dudes because he's like they always cause problems, little rappers and whatever. And he like, and then our parking lady came. She's an older lady, about 65, 70 years old. That's all she did was work those few hours every day while the parking lot was open. And, she was that old lady with all the wisdom, right? They're just cool. And she always carried a little snug nose 38 because she was like, let one of these fools act a fool while I'm in this parking out here by myself. And she grabbed Pac by his, gave him that half hug and pulled him away and said, come on, son, come with me. He don't even know he was about to get crushed. Neither one of us would have put our hands on him if he didn't put our hands, on us first. Right? But you can curse me out. You can call me all type of names. As long as you don't put your hands on me, it's all good. But yeah, man. So I'm proud of you, man. I love what you're doing. That's my Tupac story. And then I ain't like him for a few months, but that's one of my guys, dude. And right after that, he shot the Atlanta cops, or right after that, when he was in the news, when he shot the Atlanta cop, because the dude was undercover, or whatever. But yeah, man. So somebody up and coming, what's one thing you would tell them?
Stay focused. Stay focused. Listen to that small voice that says you can, because there's going to be times when everybody's going to be saying you can't. And sometimes, you might have voices in your head that's agreeing with them, but just stay focused and stay the course. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Even in the outside of the music industry, but regular business, I think that's the biggest thing. And you said something earlier. I will say that I've had really good support in business from my family, but I will say that it's a lot of times that matter of fact, I just went to a class reunion, 20 year, and one of the guys I went to college with said, man, this wasn't my reunion. This was actually his. I just, I go hang out because I grew up with them all. So, and he said, man, he's like, dude, he said, I remember in school, man, you had everything, bro. You were cool. You had whips, you had gear, you had the ladies. And I was like, yeah, and I told him, I said, man, I wish I'd have kept some of that money.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man, I had whip. I tell people I switch rims out every 3-4 months. just because I could. Let some new technology come out. Let some new card, because back then it was like I was the first one that I know with a 6-disc in-dash CD player, right? I was the first one with a 12-disc changer, 18-disc changer inside the car. Different things, but I would just spend money on stuff that really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But it was just the fact that he was like, wow, and it caught me. I was like, I did have a lot of stuff, and I look back and I go, not that I don't have anything now, but I was progressing at a way that I thought that the money and stuff would never stop. But I also was working for other people. And I had to invest a lot into this brain and into, getting things off the ground. And I've tried businesses that failed and this, that, and the other. And I would say, but I want millions because I'm going to have it. Because for what we can do, for what Black folk hotspots even want to do for business owners, and we'll talk about that, when we talk a little bit later, or because it's go time, and I'm starting to see more and more people are starting to get it, and I always tell people about support. They're like, "Oh, nobody support me," or this person. I said sometimes support Shaddow. Okay, hold on a sec. It's all good. Okay, cool. I said, I was telling us like sometimes, support, it's not always going to come from the people who are closest to you. It's going to come from people that you least expected, that you didn't even know. And that's the other reason why Black folk hotspots is, it benefits, because you can meet people that you ordinarily would never even know, because we have built that network out. And that's one of the reasons why I built that out, and I think that came from me growing up. I mean, going to the Air Force, and you went to the military, so how you met people from different parts of the country that you didn't even know existed, and
right.
How they had different personalities or different perceptions of certain things, and different things, and you're like, wow, and then how you became really cool, really close in such a short period of time. And I said, that's people.
Yeah, even closer. Like I got friends that was in the service with me that are we're still friends today, and we're better friends than any of my homies that I grew up with.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people would, like my buddy that played pro ball. People knew our relationship growing up, right? And they were like, how come y'all don't talk like that no more? And, like, I'm like, no, seriously though, dude. I know that he has different friends. He has people who he's with, he's playing pro ball. They're on the road, they're on the bus. You know what I mean? They always together. They're going to develop a relationship like no other. It happened to me when I went to basic training. Yeah, if you go to jail, it's going to happen to you. For the most, you close to a certain person for that long, for that period of time, you're going to develop a relationship or kill each other, one of the two.
Yep.
It's inevitable. But anyway, bro, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. This is a great talk, man. I appreciate you again. Like I always tell people, stay the course, stay in the fight. Even when times get tough, you know what you gotta do. You can always go make some loot somewhere else. You can always go take a little side gig or do this, do that. I tell people all the time, don't be afraid. And I only tell them that because I felt like that at one point. Like, oh man, I feel like a failure if I got to go be working at Home Depot, right? And then I realized something. People don't give a shit. It was me that had it in my head. So, but keep pushing towards that goal, because I do 2-year contracts or 1-year contract. If I go back to work, I go back to work for 1 year. I tell them, I don't tell them, but I tell my mind mentally, I'm only working here for a year or 2 years or whatever. But let me leave you. I'm gonna leave you with the last word. So tell people how they can contact you again.
If you want to contact me, get at me direct. Call me, text me. +1-817-500-0061. You hit me up on my website, shadowmusic.com. That's SHADDOWMUSIC.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Google Plus. You can reach out to me on any one of those social platforms. I'm real down to earth. Just hit me up. The quickest and best way though is to hit me up on my phone. Again, that's +1-817-500-0061. It's your boy Shaddow, leader of the Shadow Riders Army. I'm here. We out here.
And or you can just Google Shadow World Entertainment, and trust me, he owns the first page of this. I tell people all the time, like, just Google it. Because the first 2 pages so far, I'm on page 2, is all you. Don't stop, just let it ride. Yep, that's you. The first 3 pages, right? So that's good stuff. I see somebody else that picked up this interview in syndication too already.
Yeah. I'm a beast. I'm trying to get out there, man. So
no, this is I don't know who this is. Frequency Watch Videos, some new site. I've never seen this site before. The first 2 pages. See, but yeah, they got the YouTube.
Tell them the album just $1, y'all. So if you wanna see what my music sounds like, you can get the whole album, the Prelude album, for $1. And just hit me up at +1-817-500-0061. I'll send you a link. You can buy the album right there on your phone.
Wow, this is cool.
Music producers, beat makers, if you need some hot saxophone samples for your music production, get at me. +1-817-500-0061. My bad.
I'm getting too cool. All right, bro. Well, hey, it was a pleasure, man. We're gonna wrap later. I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. We're gonna definitely do it again.
There,
you got it for sure.
Hit me up offline. We're gonna talk some more about Shadow Riders Army. I gotta say something.
You got it.
All right.
Okay. All right, y'all. That was episode 10. It's in the books. I don't know. Should we shorten them? Should we keep them going the way they go? Do they have good flow? You got any questions for any of the guests? If you're watching this on YouTube or Google or Black Folk Hotspots, leave it in the comments. I know we have a little technical difficulties at the beginning, but hey, we rolled through. Should be some good tidbits, some good nuggets that was dropped, some learning experiences, some things that you might be able to like, I'm gonna try that. But anyway, if you're a Black business owner, I want you to create a profile at blackfolkhotspots.com so we can interview you. If we only need 15 minutes, if that's all you got, that's what we give you, right? If you got more time, we'll go longer. But blackfolkhotspots.com, we got over 2,100 business owners, and you can, we're bringing together to connect, to form a family like this. But this is one of our featured business owners. He's been with us for a minute, doing really well. We're helping him out, get more exposure for your business. That's what Black Folk Hotspots do. If you're looking for more exposure for your business or your events, create a profile, blackfolkhotspots.com. Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos too, by the way, on YouTube. Just and make sure you subscribe to the playlist so you get episode 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 2000, 3000, 4000. Y'all get the point. Peace, y'all.